Hi there, Barry harding-rathbone here with another little video on Spirit Shack. You're very, very welcome. If I'm squinting, I apologise. It's very, very sunny and it's behind the camera and it's sort of burning my eyes with its intensity, and what beautiful, beautiful weather we're going through at the moment. And we're all loving it. Been past the beach over this weekend here in Bournemouth, and it's been so packed you couldn't stick a pin anywhere, let alone host an EU delegation of towel barriers who wanted to get on the beach first. But in amongst all that, in amongst all this wonderful, wonderful sunshine and the sound of the birds in the trees and everything being on the face of it all right with the world, what tragedies we're going through here in the UK at the moment. And I'm thinking, of course, of the utterly indescribable pain and suffering of Grenfell Tower in Kensington and Chelsea, which I'm sure all of you, even if you're not from the UK, will have seen in your local media and national media. And then last night, the deranged man in his truck who tried to destroy lives of Muslims going from their first prayers in Ramadan to a welfare centre for food and social time before they go back for their second prayers, and obviously the death of the gentleman who had the heart attack before the truck arrived, and those who were injured by the lorry as well. And of course back at Grenfell Tower, the 120 plus families that have been displaced, and the countless many whose lives will have been lost. There's no point pussyfooting around. I am as confident as I can be that they're not going to find survivors in that building now, a week on. And at times of collective tragedy and sadness, something happens to us as a community. We live in a very fast-paced society. We live in a very hectic society, if you remember my last two videos. And oftentimes we don't take a step back and have time to socialise properly, to get to know our neighbours. How many of you watching tonight can honestly say you know your neighbours' names? You know what they do for a living. You know how many people even live in the property next door to yours and what their lives entail. Sense of community in general, as it was even 20 years ago when I was a younger man, has changed. We're too busy. We're racing around and chasing our tails. But the one positive, if there can be a positive after tragedies such as these, is that people rally round. We have seen the community of Kensington and Chelsea and Ealing and Tooting and all the other local boroughs adjacent to Kensington and Chelsea. People have swamped in to help. They've set up a welfare centre, they're providing food and clothing and basic necessities from really 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 hours after the fire first started. And last night, the Muslim community and the non-Muslim community of Islington, where Finsbury Park Mosque is, drew together. And one of the really interesting things in that was to see the ultra-Orthodox Jewish community hand in hand with their Muslim neighbours. Whereas if you think about Gaza and Israel, that's not something you expect to see. And it's wonderful. And it's something we should be so happy about, even in the face of these demonstrably awful tragedies. People come together in times of crisis. They work together for the common good. Often, as has been cited by many people, especially in the Grenfell situation, they do more than our elected representatives should do. And we are the better for it. So my challenge to you tonight is to think of your community, how you can get involved in your community, how you can go and say hello to your neighbours, to get to know them. Do you know what? Having a friend in need where you can help them is wonderful. Having a friend next door in need, or when you're in need, can be the difference between life and death. So we pray for all the victims of Grenfell Tower, for the gentleman who died outside the welfare centre of Finsbury Park Mosque last night, and the 8 or 9 people who are in hospital with varying degrees of injuries. We pray for all the families displaced. We pray for all those who fear that they will never see their families again. I've seen people, as I'm sure you have, crying their eyes out on the BBC and Sky and various other broadcasters, saying about how they still have hope that somehow, somewhere, are their families that lived in that tower block. And we must also pray for those responsible. There will be a criminal investigation into what happened at Grenfell, and rightly so. And we pray for them, that they recognise and realise their responsibilities in this matter. And we pray also for the Welshman who drove the van into the mosque. He needs just as much help as everybody else does. You may find that hard, but compassion, understanding, not giving him an excuse to say, oh well, you've prayed for me, I'm a good person. I'm not saying that. But praying that he will learn his lesson and put things right in some way in his future life. And one personal prayer, which I'd ask you all to share with me, for our neighbour. I won't name her because that wouldn't be fair. I wouldn't do it without her permission, and she's not here. Who Jonathan and I had to comfort when the police turned up last week to give her the sad news that her eldest son had, from the sound of it, taken his own life. And the sorrow that she and all the other family members are going through at this time. We ask that her son is now at peace. Well, we know her son is now at peace. But we ask that for those left to be behind who are bereaved, are angry, are questioning, we ask that the Divine Creator's love will enfold around all these people, and that his or her will be done. And so, at the end of this beautiful day, I'd like to say thank you. I'd ask you to continue your compassionate prayers and thoughts, and get out there and get to know your community. You never know when you might need them. Don't forget the competition that I mentioned in Living a Hectic Life Part 1. That closes on Saturday this week. So you only have a short time to get in there. So if you haven't entered yet, please go back and watch Living a Hectic Life Parts 1 and 2, and they will tell you, or I will tell you, how you can enter the competition for a free online reading, or in-person reading if you live locally, with myself. And until we meet again, may your expression of the Divine Creator in your heart be with you. Namaste. God bless. Salam alaikum. Shalom. Bless you. Oh, don't forget to like, share, subscribe and comment. Love reading your comments, and I always reply to everybody who sends me a comment, whether it's good or bad. You're helping me learn. God bless. Bye-bye.